Hi, this is Stuart Nachbar with Educated Quest. It's been a while since I've done a Zoom interview with someone in the admissions and enrollment management world. But today I have the opportunity to talk to David Hautanen. He is the Vice President for Enrollment Management at St. Mary's College in Maryland. St. Mary's is a school I visited when I started the website a long time ago. And it's an interesting school because it's a public liberal arts college, but it also markets itself as the National Honors College. And it's an entity unto itself, its own campus, which is quite nice on the water, and a perfect place for someone interested in environmental studies, historic preservation, um, biology, anthropology. It's really quite a place. At one point, they had students living in a cruise ship. When there were some conditions in the dormitory. That was all over 10 years ago. But it's a fascinating school. It's one that I followed for a long time. So, David, I want to thank you for this opportunity to talk to you and to ask, to share things about St. Mary's.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you today, Stuart. St. Mary's is indeed a very special institution, and I've been here now for 8 years, and it has just been a tremendous experience.
And what, over the past 8 years, what
Mhm.
was and or continues to be the impetus behind the idea of the National Public Honors College?
So that's a really good question. And I want to respond to it by taking a step back for a moment. So, St. Mary's College of Maryland was established as the state's public honors college in 1992. This was an official designation granted by the state. And the idea here was that an education that was reflective of uh, exceptional liberal arts education, like those found at top tier liberal arts colleges, could be done in the public sector, and that it would be both affordable and accessible to a wide range of student and families. So with that, in 1992, the college has had just a sort of some tremendous growth in terms of its academic programs. And then shortly after I came to the college, we had done some market research and really thought about kind of who we were and where we wanted to go. And one of the things that really struck us was that while we are the public honors college for the state of Maryland, when you take a look at the national rankings that we have, among public liberal arts colleges, we're ranked fifth in the Washington Monthly among all liberal arts colleges. When you look at outcomes and social mobility, we're ranked 16th among all liberal arts colleges. So that really put us in sort of in the mindset that, we really have a national presence. Now, I will say that that is not necessarily in terms of our student body, although our students do come from all over the country. But certainly in terms of the recognition that we have among those who informed and who are paying attention to, and our colleagues, we could see ourselves that really did have this national presence. That so as we built out the brand, it was, we looked at it from the National Public Honors College, keeping the Public Honors College that we had been for since 1992. Just a little bit about that, we are only one of three public honors colleges in the country. We are a member of COPLAC, which is the Council of Public Liberal Arts Colleges. And those are about 30 colleges throughout the country as well as in Canada. But with the Public Honors College designation, we were the first in 1992. That was followed then by New College of Florida, And then most recently, SUNY Geneseo was granted that designation as New York's public honors college in the last year. But yeah, as a state institution of higher education, we are committed to not only academic excellence and excellent outcomes for our students, but it really is a commitment to the ideas of affordability, accessibility, and diversity. And we really believe that by combining these virtues of public and private education, that St. Mary's College really provides a unique alternative for students and their families.
Has this been given that you're going to the tastes and preferences of 17 and 18-year-olds?
Yeah.
Has the idea been more challenging, less challenging to market, especially when people hear the phrase liberal arts?
hmm So, about 8 years ago, the faculty took a close look at our curriculum. And they redesigned the curriculum to something that we now call LEAD, which is short for learning through experiential and applied discovery. And this curriculum actually blends purposeful professional development that is credit bearing along with the student's academic curriculum. One of the things that liberal arts institutions and many think liberal arts students are not quite good at is explaining how their education, which richly prepares them for work, how does it prepare them for work? They're not able to explain that. So the lead curriculum actually gives students the tools to be able to understand how to explain what they're learning in their academic experience into the professional world. As part of that curriculum, students are also guaranteed the opportunity for international experiences, for internships, or for faculty guided research. And that is something that we call the Honors College Promise. It is that guaranteed opportunity to apply what you're learning in the classroom to real world experiences to be able to then apply them into whatever you're doing after school, whether that be graduate school, whether that be the professional world, whether that be service. So as we've told this story, that really has, I think, resonated with students and families about the applicability of a liberal arts education into the professional world.
If St. Mary's were in Pennsylvania, where there's other liberal arts colleges,
Mhm.
Pennsylvania has more of them than any other state.
Yep.
Would it have been a greater marketing challenge?
Oh, that's a really good question, Stuart. Um, you know, it. I guess from which perspective? From the perspective of being a liberal arts college and in Pennsylvania having as many liberal arts colleges as it does, from the perspective of being an honors college, I'm not sure which is the best
Compared
way to think
to,
about your question.
I'm thinking it might get shot more closely with the private colleges that are not ultra selective like a Swarthmore, but like the Gettysburgs,
hmm
Dickinson's, F&M's, to some lesser extent the Bucknell. In Pennsylvania, things tend to get mixed together.
Yeah, sure, sure. I think the thing that would where we would stand out would be that we're in the public sector. So as a result, our students, I think, represent a broader diversity, not only from racial, ethnically, but also socioeconomically than you may find at a number of typical private liberal arts colleges. And that really is something that is really kind of important to us that we really represent. And again, I'm going to have to pivot back to Maryland, that one of our goals is that we represent the citizenry of the state of Maryland. And Maryland is a highly diverse state, as you may be aware. Actually, in the last couple of years, we transitioned really to majority minority state, and we have seen as we have, been done robust recruitment across the state that we have indeed seen the diversity of our entering classes really shift. And very proud that this year about 40% of our entering class will be students from underrepresented backgrounds. About 25% are going to be coming first generation students, and about 24% of our students will be from Pell Grant eligible families.
Um, is there more interest now since you've been there over 8 years,
Mhm.
more interest within Maryland or outside Maryland?
So, as a public institution, we are put on a lot of lists for students from Maryland, and our applicant pool has more than doubled over the last 5 years in particular. That growth has been sort of balanced, both in-state and out of state, but we are still, majority, 85% of our students are from the state of Maryland.
And is there a fixed percentage that must be from in-state or a limit on like within North Carolina, they have a limit on out-of-state. Are there limits placed on St. Mary's like that?
Uh, no, there are not any limits, and our intention is, as we look towards the next 3 or 4 years, is to continue to work to increase the number of out-of-state students here on campus as we also look to grow and increase the size of the college, which we've been doing over the last 5 or 6 years. We've been steadily growing. And that has been both with in-state students and with out-of-state students as well. But there is no limit. The state doesn't have any limit on the in-state versus out-of-state distribution. Where we have seen questions about in-state and out-of-state distribution is when there are questions about access for students, for in-state students into an institution. And we have worked really hard to ensure that is not the case.
I went on the Baltimore College Town tour back in November, so I got to visit a
Okay.
lot of Maryland schools.
Mhm.
Has the state been fairly responsive in terms of financial aid?
Yes, they have. In terms of where we see most of the support for financial aid from the state are for the sort of low income students and families. So I think that has really supported our ability to fund the students from lower income backgrounds. The college also uh, gives tremendous resources to students in terms of both merit aid and need-based aid. About 98% of our students do receive either merit scholarships or financial need-based financial aid.
And then the kids must shop a wide variety of schools,
Hmm.
whether they're from in-state or out of state. Because I could imagine, like I visited Coppin, I should,
Coppin, yeah,
that's
yeah,
right,
Coppin.
in Baltimore, and they don't have. I think they have fewer students than St. Mary's right now.
They may, I don't
And
know.
so you have to figure someone might be shopping it against Coppin. Someone might be shopping against an honors program in College Park.
Mhm.
Someone might be shopping it against going to UMBC. Someone might be shopping it against going to Gettysburg or Franklin and Marshall. Do you
Right.
find like the considered set is so big that it's overwhelming
Overwhelming for the students.
for your office?
For our office, one of the things that we really find very interesting, Stuart, is that, when we look at our data, and that is that our primary competitors are the University of Maryland, College Park, UMBC, Towson, and Salisbury. And I think that really is a function of our being an in-state public institution. When we were looking at families who are looking for a liberal arts education, then you're right. Then we're seeing more overlap with like a Gettysburg and F&M, even a Swarthmore, Hopkins. We're seeing kind of more overlap there. But if for families who are looking at staying in state, we're sort of seen as, I guess, kind of the small liberal arts option for students, and that sometimes we kind of wonder about that. How with the St. Mary's College experience is so distinctive. Our classes are they're small. We have very high and close faculty student interaction. It's a very close community. We've got a beautiful location right over my shoulder here. I've got a beautiful view of the St. Mary's River. During the school year, you see the sailing team and the rowing teams out there practicing. On a windy day, you'll see students windsurfing across the river. It is just a tremendous and beautiful location here. So it really, so sometimes you wonder why are we on their list for the bigger schools as well as for as being the smallest of the institutions, giving such a different experience. And I think some of that is that students maybe aren't as sure as to what they're looking for. And they may be thinking about, well, bigger is better. Bigger gives me more opportunities. Bigger is kind of maybe more exciting. But then when we get students to come to campus, like when you visited, however many years ago, you just found this beautiful institution, nestled in an absolutely stunning location. We're adjacent to historic St. Mary's City, which is the founding city of the state of Maryland. It's a National Historic Site. We have replicas of the original State House for the state of Maryland. The first Jesuit church in the country is located right there. And that provides our students with a lot of opportunities for, as you mentioned, anthropology, but also museum studies, archaeology. Um, and but the environment itself just really provides great opportunities for students who are interested in, as you said, environmental studies. We do have a new major that has been growing rapidly, and that is a major in marine sciences. And that has, sometimes you wonder, why didn't St. Mary's have a major in marine sciences? Whereas we had specializations in biology, then a couple of years ago, we expanded it. We also have implemented and established a new major a few years ago in business, and that has proven to be very popular, and especially as we think about business in the liberal arts sense. So students have really found that very attractive. Since you've been here, we also have, there's been a lot of building here on campus. And I think, sir, if you were to come, and I would love for you to come down sometime soon, we're probably almost unrecognizable in terms of the amount of building that we've done. Since 2020, we have opened new athletic facilities. We've got a brand new stadium with one side has an AstroTurf field, the other side has grass fields and brand new track and field facilities. And in the place where our old field used to be, we have a brand new 700 state acoustically perfect concert hall, along with other excellent facilities for music. And we've also opened up a learning commons that features a cafe along with dedicated study spaces for students. And that's kind of in addition to some other building that had occurred kind of leading up into that. I would say probably in the last 7, 8 years, we've opened up probably about $110 million worth of new facilities,
Wow.
which is just tremendous. On tap, it's interesting. Right before this meeting, I had a meeting where we were discussing an update to our library, and we are going to be kind of we have been rethinking what does it mean to be a library. And as part of the Honors College Promise, we are gathering together those offices which support students in the idea of undergraduate research, international experiences, and internships. And those are all being brought together into the library on the first floor to really be a signature space for students to start to explore what their academic programs may mean in the real world, and how might they apply what they're learning in the classroom to these certain types of experiences. So it's all being pulled together in what's going to promising to be a stunning space. One of the points that was made is that the campus is in such a beautiful location that they're leveraging sort of all the sight lines that are just natural within sort of the building and the construction of the building today, leveraging them even more so students really can experience the beauty of the nature, but yet with all of the the facilities and the features that are going to be within the building. It's going to be really neat, and we expect that that will open up in the fall of 2026. So it'll probably take about 8 or 9 months to renovate
So the
that
incoming
space.
freshmen will get an opportunity to use the building before they graduate, well
Oh
before.
yeah, yeah. Another renovation that is on tap, that will start next year as well, is the renovation of Montgomery Hall, which is the home of our theater, performance and performing arts theater and performance studies department, as well as our art department, English and philosophy. So that will all be fully renovated over the course of the next 3 or 4 years. That's a major renovation. It's probably going to be some between 60 and $70 million worth of work to upgrade that facility, and it's really needed. We have our students have tremendous interest in theater. Our art courses are just sort of expanding in terms of just offerings and interest. So,
Is that
no,
among
there's so
majors
much
or
need.
minors as well?
Pardon me?
Is that among people choosing those subjects as a major?
As it's not so much as a major, while although the major itself is healthy, it's more students who are taking it either to fulfill requirements as a minor, or simply because they enjoy they enjoy being getting their hands into the arts. So it's just been it's time for the refresh of the building. We also it's interesting, Stuart, when you come to St. Mary's, I think as you might remember, the design of campus is in the Tidewater architectural tradition. We have a very classic liberal arts tradition here in terms of the campus experience, with the exception of Montgomery Hall. And Montgomery Hall was designed probably in the 70s. And students sometimes lovingly refer to it as the Pizza Hut building because the shape of the building is reminiscent of the Pizza Hut roofs that were ubiquitous, kind of in those establishments. So that will be kind of rebuilt to look a little to be more aesthetically pleasing with the rest of campus. So another initiative that we have underway is that we're going to be in the process of renovating all of our first year residence halls. This summer, there are 4 residence halls for first year students. We have about 85% of our students do live on campus. So first year students live in traditional residence halls. And the first of the four is being renovated this summer, which is kind of an upgrade to all of the common spaces. All of the bathrooms are all being rebuilt and renovated to be much more private spaces, uh, improving sight lines to actually bring more nature into the kind of the buildings itself. So we're hoping that one will be completed each summer over the course of the next 4 years. But once a student is finishes their first year, then we guarantee students housing for all 4 years. There's no need for students to go off campus unless they would like to. Upper class students have a choice of suites, townhouses, or apartments. So that really goes into sort of much more different types of housing options once you finish up your first year in the traditional residence halls.
Last question, where would you like the enrollment to be? You're at I'd say, what, 1600 now?
Yeah, but we're 1650, 1670, right in there.
Where would you like to be?
So that is a great question. And we would really like to be somewhere around 1850.
Okay.
So not too much bigger, but bigger. At one point, the college we had 2,000 students at one point, and we're bursting a little bit at the seams. But I do think that given all of the additional facilities that we have built over the last 10 years, that we could actually sustain having closer to 2,000 students on campus.
Would that require adding more faculty as well?
That's something that we're looking at. Right now, our student to faculty ratio is really an enviable 10 to 1. So there is room there for us to grow without adding faculty. But add the sort of adding faculty and understanding and looking at kind of what is the best faculty for St. Mary's College given the academic programs that we have is something that we're already doing. We have a number of new faculty on campus over the last few years because of our new program in marine science, our new program in business administration. We're implementing a new data science minor, so that will probably bring a couple of faculty on campus. So there's always the faculty, while it's stable, I would expect over the next few years we're going to see a little bit of growth there as well. We never want to get past having any more than a 12 to 1 student faculty ratio. So,
Well,
like I said, as I said, we've got a little bit of room to grow.
I think when I was looking at the different clips I found, there was like the largest lecture hall, maybe said 40 people.
We have two lecture halls, which see is probably closer to 60, but those are used for some of our introductory courses, in particularly kind of in some of this in biology and psychology. But St. Mary's College is a place where you will never get lost. You will always be seen as kind of as an individual. You will not be a face in the crowd. You will be a face. And I think that is something that our students sincerely appreciate that they're not anonymous. They are kind of known as to who they are across campus, which then provides all sorts of opportunities for them. I think about one student who just graduated, this past year, and he came to St. Mary's. He was a first generation student, and he had an interest in psychology, neuroscience. And one of his first year courses, he was fascinated by the topic, and ultimately during that year became one of the research assistants for the faculty member. He then spent a summer, his junior year, at a program at kind of one of the Ivy Leagues, and right now he is at Duke doing his PhD work. And that kind of story is ubiquitous here at St. Mary's College. This as being an honors program where our students are having these really rich academic experiences. They're learning how to apply those experiences. Really has provided the opportunity for our students to have tremendous outcomes like this student does. Was it 96% of our students were in the working world in graduate school or in service? After graduation, I think that really speaks to the success of the intentionality of the academic program embedded with the professional skills that we offer our students.
That's a perfect ending for all
All
that.
right.
So, David, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, you're very welcome. I appreciate it.